So I want to end here. I've been mayor for 2 years. It sort of changed my life. It's changed the way people talk to me. You know, it used to be that I would run into somebody in the street and they'd say, "Hey, Daniel, how are you?" And now they say, "How are you?" You know, it's with real, "I'm so sorry about your uncle's cancer diagnosis" energy. And look, I'm great. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I love this job and I'm lucky to have it. But I'm not going to lie and say that it's never lonely. And it feels lonely sometimes because sometimes I feel like I'm just surrounded by anger, surrounded by combat. And I feel like I've spent all of this time, these 2 years, trying to bring people together and turn down the temperature in an environment that doesn't always feel like it wants the temperature turned down. Living in a polarized moment. And I want to be clear about this. I'm a progressive Democrat. I'm not a kumbaya guy. I don't require unanimity. If you think this and I think this, I don't think that means that the right solution is necessary for us to sit down and meet in the middle. And by the way, as somebody who has 2 children who the Republican Party is literally trying to criminalize, I understand that sometimes polarization is the morally necessary way forward. But I also know the polarization, when it's necessary, is necessary in service of an outcome, not as a culture. And what I'm here to tell you is that the polarization that we're experiencing in the city of Evanston is not an Evanston problem, and it's not a government problem. The difficulty having productive discussions to resolve difficult situations is endemic right now. And if you don't know that, it means you're not a teacher. And ask your friends who are in the classroom, or ask your friends who wait tables, or ask your friends who are flight attendants. I'm not saying everyone's terrible at all, but I'm saying there is a default to combat and a difficulty in resolving difficult situations productively that is spreading in our society. And so the question then presents itself of why is that? And one explanation you hear a lot is the previous president, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. The one explanation that obviously holds a tremendous amount of water is the pandemic and what it did to people. But there's another explanation that I think is really, really critical, and it's this. I'm talking about screens in general, smartphones in particular, and social media apps in quadruple particular. If you think about what Mark Zuckerberg's profit motive is, it is to keep your eyeballs on his screen. That's all he wants. He's not selling anything that you're buying. He's selling your eyeballs. And he wants as much of them as possible. And the way to keep them is to make you afraid, and to make you angry, and to make you envious. And so what we now have is these incredible technologies that are good mostly at putting us in little bubbles with other people who are angry and afraid and envious about the same things that we are. And when presented with this fact, I can't help but ask the question of why are we even here? And I know the question of what is the purpose of life feels a little cringy, right? It feels like it's for anxious 12-year-olds who can't fall asleep, right? Or for college sophomores who just took their first philosophy class. But I actually think it's a question that we all benefit from asking ourselves. And the answer that I come to after the sort of high-minded stuff about creating beautiful things and solving difficult problems and art and beauty and innovation and making the world a better place, all of those sophisticated things, when you boil them down, they come, in my mind, to a very simple thing, which is we're here to be together. to be with each other, to do what we love with people we love who love doing those same things. And when we do a lot of that, we're healthier. We're mentally healthier. We're physically healthier. We're more emotionally balanced, and we're more resilient to difficulties that come our way. And so in light of that, it is just extraordinary to acknowledge that the most remarkable assemblage of technological talent in the history of humanity by far is currently working single-mindedly on the problem of how to stop us from engaging in the whole purpose of being alive in the first place. That is messed up. That is perverse. And it's not surprising to me that it's impaired our mental health, it's impaired our social cohesion, and it's impaired our difficulty to relate productively to each other, particularly when we do not agree. Now, I am most assuredly an old man, and I am most assuredly yelling at a cloud. But I don't want you to think that I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud. This is not only about new technology. This is a trend that was, frankly, had a lot to do with television. It was a trend that had a lot to do with creating the nuclear family as a residential unit. I know it sounds crazy from the vantage point of 2023, but the idea that the people who live in a house together are just parents and their kids is actually pretty darn new and pretty darn isolating, particularly in a suburban environment where the house is detached from other houses on a large lot, and you leave it and go into it by going through a garage that's attached. That's isolating. That's isolating. And by the way, these phenomena are also exacerbating by the work meat grinder we're in right now that says that highly educated elite workers are in some kind of performative, make sure you work more hours than everybody else culture, and low-wage workers are just in a situation of having to work more and more hours, more and more jobs with less and less predictability, less and less sleep, less and less physical health, and less mental health just to figure out how to pay the rent, how to afford medicine, how to have a hope of getting an education. And so there are a lot of different phenomena coming together, all moving in the direction of isolation, loneliness, atomization, and social dissolution. By the way, we did two things last night at City Council that are really important from this point of view. The single best antidote to a built neighborhood that separates people is a neighborhood school that people walk to together, builds community, connects neighbors, builds social capital. Last night we voted to support District 65's application to build a school in the Fifth Ward, righting a half century of wrong, and wrong that broke up communities and exacerbated this very problem. And we passed, not without some controversy, but I'm damn proud of it, we passed a Fair Workweek ordinance last night because I believe that a worker not only has the right to a living wage, they also have the right to a life that gives them the capability to invest time in their family, to invest time in their friends, to invest time in their relationships, and build healthy balance that strengthens communities. And so you might have wondered for a minute, like if you'd wandered into not a State of the City address, but a lecture on doomer sociology. But in my view, it's all connected. In fact, I wouldn't have run for mayor if I didn't believe that the role of municipal government was critical in helping us build the kind of society and the kind of relationships that we need. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, whether it comes to zoning, whether it comes to events, whether it comes to our labor policies. We're doing what we're doing to build a community where people can be together. And that's where I want to end, by saying that as long as I am mayor, the city of Evanston will do whatever it can to facilitate our being together. Yes, our living together, but our working together, our learning together, our playing together, our eating together, our arguing productively together, are solving problems together, are helping each other and lifting each other up together so that we can build collectively the society where everybody has the nurturing human relationships that we all need to thrive. And I know that I have all of you as teammates in that effort, and for that, more than anything else, I say thank you very much.